Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. My name is Paul Salter, and I'm a triple-digit golfer on a quest to become a scratch golfer. I'm also a high-performance mindset coach and credentialed hypnotherapist with 15 years of experience helping high performers from all walks of life get unstuck and unlock their full potential. Join me each week as I not only detail my journey, but make mastering the mental game of golf simple, tangible, and relatable so that you can overcome the mental hazards keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance. Hey, fellow golfer, welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist. Happy Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is that you are tuning in to yet another episode. I am wishing you a wonderful day, and just my biggest expression of gratitude and appreciation for you tuning in to yet another episode recapping my journey to Scratch. And I want to be confident. I want to say it with conviction. We made a couple dot connecting moments in the swing this week, a couple practical strategies, or I guess learning lessons learned on the course this week that I feel will prove pivotal, there's the word, in my journey to reaching the initial goal, which is breaking 90 before November 13th. So, going to dig into some practice sessions, one round of play this past week, one transformative lesson with Coach Melvin, and everything in between on my journey to breaking 90 before November 13th. Before we get there, though, just a reminder to you, there has been no shortage of stellar newsletters written and produced on the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter website. Remember, every Friday, I send and share a detailed written collection of resources, content, tangible action steps you can take to overcome your own mental and emotional hazards to get out of your own way and play to your potential. And some of the past few editions are The Art and Science of Acceptance. Learn how practicing acceptance can accelerate results. The Power and Potential of Practicing Patience. How patience, or lack of it, shapes your golf game. And to be frank, this one was, I think, really written for me first and foremost. The next one of the most recent ones, Overcoming the Yips. Why self-diagnosing and labeling your recent poor play is keeping you stuck. And last week's edition, Hitting the Mental Reset Button. How to use pattern interrupts to play to your potential. So I'll link in the show notes the direct link to the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter, free every Friday, delivered in your inbox around 7 or 7:30 Eastern time. It's a great resource and read as you prepare for a wonderful weekend of golf. Without further ado, let's dive into the weekly recap. And let me begin by saying golf in Florida is changing. You know, as I record this, it's the last day of September. The snowbirds' massive arrival is imminent. And the golf course, from my naive short-term perspective so far, is becoming more and more crowded. Tee times more and more difficult to find. Granted, again, a limited window of experience here. But I was that individual who had no issues making a tee time at 1:30 on a Wednesday when it was 95 degrees, humid as hell, and I could play by myself or with my playing partner, get a round of 18 done in 3.5, 3:45. Well, I'm starting to notice, like I mentioned, tee times are harder to come by. They're only going out in foursomes, and my last round took about 4:40. And I think that's just the norm. You know, my good buddy Aaron, who I golf with quite regularly, has constantly reminded me, buckle up, buckle up. Golf is different down here in the wintertime. We are inundated with snowbirds. It's crowded. It's beautiful fucking weather down here, October to March, and everyone is out taking advantage of it. So to weather that storm, if you will. I've been proactive in making tee times. My buddy Aaron's been proactive making tee times. I've got 2 on the calendar this week, Friday and Saturday morning, and we'll get into that in a moment. But the challenge, the new challenge that is posed for me, again, comes back to one of the prevailing themes I shared on one of the first episodes of this podcast: patience. Diffusing any feeling or sensation of false pressure, urgency, a rush or hurry, and just purely being present in the moment. And during my away from the course mental work the past week, I've really began to lean into my breath work and presence practice like never before. Really digging in, pushing a little deeper with my unique breath practice. I'm a big fan of 2 parts. Really what I do every morning is my 1 to 1, 2, 3 breath work practice: in for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 8, in for 4, out for 12. And I also pivot into some Wim Hof breathing as well. But for me too, I've really focused on allowing my mind to naturally drift during some of these breath holds and having an anchor to come back to ground me in the present moment. And the goal here is to allow this to become a transferable skill to the golf course as well. Knowing these rounds are going to likely be a little bit longer, there's a creation of so much more downtime, opportunity for distraction. I need a way to better anchor myself, pull myself back to the present moment. So that's what I've been working on away from the course. And another way to further enhance that, and this is a little bit directly related to some feedback I got during my teaching lesson yesterday, is making sure I'm doing a better job slowing down, spending intentional time in my think box before each shot. And then when I step into my play box, just allowing it to be unconsciously automatic, reactive, go, swing, hit, and move on. So I'll break that down a little bit further when we get there. But that's what some of my away from the course work has been this week, as well as an uptick in mobility, flexibility, and dare I say prehab, rehab. The low back has been stiff as a board. My glutes are just yelling at me today. It's not so much soreness as irritation the last 72 hours. And unfortunately, it's my own doing. The ego in me, having a background and a competitive career in powerlifting. I've gone so long without barbell squatting. I've gone so long without traditional deadlifting. I've tried squeezing trap bar deadlift back into my workout routine. And although it feels fair, okay, no pain during the lift, it's just my body seems to just not handle it well for whatever reason. The history of car accidents, injuries, disc this, disc that, and I think I'm hopefully sharing this out loud for my own accountability. I've got to just remove that exercise. So that's the plan this week, is to remove it, see what happens. I've added yoga into the schedule again now that I'm settled in my new home, new location. So I'm hopeful those collective efforts are fruitful and allowing me to play or move pain-free, because as you can imagine, all that rotation and torque, my low back is just clenching, almost as if it doesn't feel safe rotating, allowing my backswing, my takeaway to get back where it needs to be, which, to be frank, led to a really inconsistent week of practice. You know, I've jokingly shared before, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde situation for how I'd hit on the range. During a round, I can usually just kind of get away with, grinding out good shots enough to score fairly well. But this week, there were a couple times I went to the range, you would have thought I was a scratch golfer. Kidding aside, I was just striking the ball very clean, hitting the ball straight. The other days, it was as if I couldn't make fucking contact to save my life, almost as if there was a magnet on the hosel connected to the ball, and that's the only contact I was literally able to make. So some inconsistent range sessions this week, but finally, lo and behold, if you've been following me on Instagram at the Golf Hypnotherapist, you've likely seen a handful of swing videos with me on my swing mat that is in my lanai, which is a screened-in porch for you non-Floridians, hitting plastic golf balls. Many moons ago, I got a big swing golf net. I went to set it up almost 6 weeks ago. It was broken. It was missing a piece. Sent it back. Got another one right away. just failed to ever set it up. And finally, this past week, I set it up, brought the swing mat outside. It was a process and a half. It is pretty ghetto rigged, if you will. The setup is not perfect. I'm making it work. It does work. It's held down by extra paint cans. One of the paint cans leaked, unbeknownst to me in the moment. So there's just a big blotch of white paint in the middle of the flooring of the net piece. But regardless, it works. I've been hitting a lot of balls out there now. And that's where I really plan to get some quality reps in, if not every day, almost every day, to really help fine tune that swing. And for me, there's a key word there I hope you caught: quality reps. I've noticed the past few weeks, due to some increasing frustration with just like one day feeling like my swing is perfect, the next feeling like I don't know how to swing. Sometimes I feel as if I'm just checking a box or rushing shots during my practice sessions, hitting a shot for the sake of hitting, almost as if I'm hoping, wishing there's smooth contact so I can take a deep breath. So my challenge to myself is to really slow down. And the approach I'll be taking to practice this week is 15 to 20 balls. Just, can be fairly quick to get a feel, warm up, get the body moving, the blood flowing, feel the ball, the club in my hand, and then slowing down, going through my full pre-shot routine with every shot, focusing on tying this all together, doing a lot more practice swings without hitting the ball, something I've kind of backed away from the past month or two, really trying to make my pre-shot routine automatic. I've kind of just eliminated practice swings. So I'm going to really slow down and lean into quality. So after getting through those 15 or 20 warm-up balls, focusing on 10 balls at a time. And if those 10 balls take 12 minutes or 20 minutes, I'm not going to fret. And I'll just reassess after 10 slow, methodical, intentional shots, reassess if I need a break, reassess if I'm going to go do another 10 shots. So that's where I am at this week. And with that inconsistent roller coaster, it was only fitting that the single round I played this past week was also a roller coaster. So I had a goal of playing 18 on last Friday morning. Couple things changed in my schedule, so I inevitably only played 9 at the home course, Heritage Isles, and was able to go off as a single early in the morning. And that morning on the range, I was striping the ball, felt really good, felt confident. Yet, if I'm being candid, when I moved to chipping and putting, there was a lack of a plan. And as I'm saying this out loud, I know it's silly, it's foolish. I need to do a better job cultivating my set warm-up routine on and around the green. So I didn't feel that consistent in my putting nor my chipping, but that's how the chips fell. And that's what I brought into the back 9, playing 9 on Friday at Heritage Isles. And lo and behold, I like the back 9. The back 9, especially to me, in my mind, is very scoreable. It's gettable. It's attackable. There's a couple short par 4s that, when I feel more confident, are very drivable. They're between 260 and 300. With a lot of water and bunkers around. But they're starting on the back 9. It's a short par 4. It's 302. Drive right down the fairway with the 5-wood. Great start to the day. Feeling good. Hit my second shot. Pushed it a little right. And sadly, it's a steep downward slope into some water. I didn't hear a splash. I saw a couple bounces. Couldn't find the ball. So sadly had to take a penalty shot. Doubled on 10. Moving on to the 11. I love the par 5 11. I bogeyed this one. Nothing noteworthy stands out. I don't have my notes in front of me. I forgot to grab my phone before I hit record. But double 10, bogeyed 11, hard 12, because lo and behold, I hit the green in regulation, 2-putt, all good things there. I bogeyed the par 3 13. Missed the green in regulation there, but was able to still score bogey. So we start the day, double, bogey, par, bogey, straight 2 putts, 1 OB. Pretty solid start to the day. Moving on to 14. 14 is another par 4. Doubled that one. Hard the par 5 15. Bogeyed the par 3 16. Double bogeyed the par 4 17 due to an OB. and and I parred 18. So just listen to this roller coaster. Double, bogey, par. Bogey, double, par. Bogey, double, par for a 45 on the back nine. We take a big 30,000 foot view of this round. So much opportunity missed. Some really quality shots. 17 putts, 1 3-putt, 2 OBs, couple greens in regulation, a couple fairways hit, and my second best score on this back nine. But what was really noteworthy and what I wanted to bring up to you is I didn't, in that moment, until I really made the conscious effort to redirect my energy and focus, feel any sense of pride or accomplishment. I was quite disappointed with the 45. And that's bogey golf. And like that is the goal right now, literally, is to shoot one better than bogey golf on or before November 13th. I felt frustrated. I felt disappointed. I just felt like I left so much out there. There would be 1, 2 good shots on a hole, or that I'd chunk, or I topped 1 or 2 that round. And it was just, like, come on, Paul, you're so capable. And lo and behold, I played through a couple groups there. In hindsight, I might have rushed a little. I don't think I was as dialed in and mentally prepared that morning as I could have been, and absolutely as I should have been, to play my best round. So a little bit of just slowing down. Again, the prevailing theme for me needs to have greater priority and precedence placed upon it. But at the end of the day, like, I am right on the cusp of where I want to be. I shot a 92 a couple weeks ago. I've shot a 44 and a 45 respectively on the back nine at this particular course. And we're going to go at it again this coming Friday. We're going to get 9 in on Friday morning, and then a brand new course I've never played on Saturday for 18. So a lot of opportunity in front of me. And that brings me to this past Sunday. So yesterday, as of recording this, I had another lesson. And it was an interesting mix of physical and emotional sensations coming into this lesson. First and foremost, like I mentioned, the low back, the glutes, a lot of pain, a lot of stiffness. Again, I spent 20 or 30 minutes trying to loosen up before even driving to my lesson. It's so aggravating. I am in Florida riding with my butt warmers, my seat warmers on to make the 30-minute drive to my lesson, just hoping that heat loosens everything up. And I was also just bringing a little frustration with my inconsistency to that lesson, having no idea where or what direction my coach was going to take me. I can confidently say that this has proven to be, to date, the most effective tactical lesson I have had. He gave me, I was warming up without him. Let me start there. Hitting the ball pretty well, loosening up slowly, solid contact. And we did a couple drills, just rotation drills with, what would be similar to having a broomstick across my chest or a back on my back, like I have a barbell on my back. And just for me, loading onto my hip and making sure when I'm rotating, I'm not sinking down or raising up, because that's just inconsistently producing the quality contact I needed. So doing some drills there, getting some mirrored feedback, feeling and seeing what it's like to initiate the perfect one-piece takeaway and total backswing with regards to keeping my shoulders level as I rotate, proved to be very, very powerful. He made a couple changes of where I'm placing the ball depending on which club I had. Me putting my 8 iron as an example, kind of in the middle of my stance, what I thought was the middle of my stance, and apparently in his mind and everybody else's was still too far back. So a couple changes there, and I was hitting the ball the best I've ever hit it during a range session, during a coaching session. Produced really good results. We went through the bag too, which was really a big confidence booster. It wasn't just my gap and my pitching wedge I was striping, because I hit those most consistently in home. It was the 9, the 8, the 7, the 6, the 5, the 3 wood. I took all of those outs, felt a lot more confident with the 3 wood in my hands. Very, very pleased. I brought that momentum home and went into the backyard and was still able to replicate all of those swings. Meaning for me, the biggest thing was the consistency and contact. Didn't have any mishits, hosels, topping, nothing. It was pure, it was clean, and I'm very encouraged by that, as you can imagine. But a lot of great takeaways there. And what was really powerful about that coaching lesson was just how many times my coach challenged me when I was, not hitting the shot exactly as I had envisioned. Like, what happened there? What went wrong? Empowering me with the confidence and the information to diagnose where I need to bring my attention if I notice a pattern of mishits. So for me, he empowered me with that knowledge to be my own coach, to be able to address and troubleshoot my swing on the fly. So that was very powerful, and I'm very grateful for that lesson. The other thing that stands out this week, and this is going to sound so funny for some of you more advanced and experienced golfers, but it was the first time, and I give all credit to a random Facebook reel, which happened to come up organically in my lesson with my coach as well, adjusting my body angle based on my lie. So I'm aware of the subtle adjustments I need to make if I have an uphill or a downhill lie. But I was unaware until about a week ago what I need to do if I have, or I should say, I'm aware of what to do with my balls below or beneath my feet. But if I'm on an uphill or a downhill lie, the feedback, the cue of adjusting my shoulders to be parallel with the ground and the lie has proven instrumental. I had a couple really quality shots that I previously would have struggled with without this knowledge during that round on Friday, and then really being able to apply that during the chipping portion, the pitching portion of my practice session yesterday. It was like an aha moment for me, a light bulb moment, just understanding why, as an example, if I had an uphill lie and I had a couple chips where it's like I just hit straight into the ground, he's like, you didn't adjust your body to be aligned with the lie. So little subtleties like that are starting to click, come together. I know they're going to continue to prove to be fruitful for me as I bring everything to the next couple of rounds on the horizon. And with that said, crazy to think we're about 6 weeks away from the little guy coming, which means 6 weeks away from having the opportunity to break 90, feeling good about where my game is at in this particular moment, and going to bring the intention of slowing down, bring the intention of my presence practice to every single physical range putting practice session this week, as well as to the off-the-course work I'm doing, both in my breath work, as well as in my yoga, my rehab, my stretching, because I got to get the body feeling good, feeling loose, in order to play to my potential this weekend. And that's where I'm at. I wish you a wonderful week of practice and play, regardless of where you are. I have an imagination. Many of you listening, the season is coming to an end. So get out there, have fun, hit them straight, and keep in mind, there is an abundance of opportunity to take your game to the next level in the upcoming off season with minimal or non-existent range time or putting time. There are so many aspects of your game you can work on physically, emotionally, and mentally. And there's going to be a lot more content from my direction in the coming months to empower you with frameworks and strategies and steps you can take to really continue your pursuit of scratch or whatever your goal is in the off season when you're unable to play as frequently as you like. So stay tuned for that. I sincerely appreciate you listening. If you haven't done so already, hey, 30 seconds, genuine rating, review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. It means the world to me. It really goes a long way in supporting the show, supporting my goal of growing this show, getting this information, and the stellar lists of guests I have on here regularly out into the world to connect with fellow avid golfers like you. So take 30 seconds, leave a genuine rating and review. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next episode.